This week on commandN, a shiny new browser, some shiny new graphics, and a shiny old host. Welcome to episode 147 of commandN. I'm Amber.
I'm Will Pate.
This is a very exciting episode because this is our 3-year anniversary.
Woo, streamers. Bzz.
I know, I can't believe it's been 3 years and we have new graphics, we have a special interview on the show, we also have some special guests coming on the show, so it's going to be a good one.
It's a big day.
All right, let's get right into it. Let's talk about the tech headlines of the week. Well, Google has been in the news all week long, and you can't get away from the news about the new Google browser, which is called Chrome. Lots of feedback about it. Have you tried it out yet?
I haven't.
You haven't? Well, I've read a lot of reviews. I talked to Leo Laporte about it, and everybody seems to love it. They say it's really, really fast. They love the way that they do tabs. There's lots of neat features as well. So when it comes out, which is going to be Windows only to start out with, but eventually they'll have a Mac version, and we're going to have to download it and play around with it.
Yeah, I want my Mac version so I can play with it.
I know, I'm just waiting. Come on, Google. And other Google news about Android.
Yeah, the results of the Android First Developer Contest have been announced, and there's a bunch of great apps, so go check it out if you are going to have an Android phone soon or have one already. You'll find some cool stuff on there.
Now, in other news, if you're into shopping online, I know this is a bit of a segue, but there's a new t-shirt site called pleasedressme.com. It's done by our favorite guy, Gary, who does the wine show. Do you ever watch his wine show?
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Hello everybody and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk.
He does a nice job, and he does this site as well as I think his brother and a couple of other people. They've put it together. Now the neat thing about it, it's a search engine. So the idea is you can go in, you can search by color of t-shirts, you can also search by words on t-shirts. So it's a collaboration of all these different sites like Threadless and other sites online that sell t-shirts. So for anyone out there who's a big t-shirt fan, like most guys I know, it's a good place to start.
I'm going to try the Astro Boy keyword, see where that takes me.
That's going to take you a lot of places. I can just imagine. Now, you have some interesting news about Picasa.
Yeah, Picasa's added face recognition, so the idea is to try and make it easy when you upload your Picasa albums to tag your family and friends, and it kind of recognize the faces, does the work for you. I think it's a really cool use of face recognition. I know people get kind of creeped out by that stuff sometimes, but it's a really handy use of a cool technology. So.
I love Picasa. It reminds me a little bit, I haven't tried out this new feature, but a while ago I did a video for TinEye, and they have a lot of recognition among photos, and their technology is absolutely amazing.
It's amazing, and they're Toronto local too.
I know.
Yeah.
Go TDOT. They do a really nice job. My last headline this week is about an Atom Collider YouTube rap for all the science buffs out there. This is rising up the ranks on YouTube.
27 kilometers tunnel underground, designed with mind to send protons around. A circle that crosses through Switzerland and France. 60 nations contribute to scientific advance.
They did a very nice job of that rap, and although it only has about 500,000 views right now, I can see it getting even more popular as time goes on.
Huh.
Huh. Now, Will, your last story is about Comcast, maybe on a more sour note.
Yes, to leave things on a sad note. Well, Comcast has actually announced that October 1st they're going to start metering bandwidth for their broadband customers. So 250 gigs a month. They say only about 1% of users will get affected, but of course, folks who like to download things like commandN, Twit TV, all that kind of cool stuff, they might find themselves up against that bandwidth cap.
Yeah, boo. That's all I have to say.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Tech Tips. We're here at the NSCC Waterfront Campus in Halifax, the Nova Scotia Community College, here with Chris Campbell, who teaches here, and a regular helper on commandN. And we're going to cover a complicated area in digital video, which is pixel aspect ratios. So, in a nutshell, the problem, Chris, is it comes from historically.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between television and watching video on computers. And so it's been around for a long time. When you watch video on a TV or shoot it from a video camera, the pixels aren't square. So on a computer, they're square. On television, the pixels are 90% of the width
And originally, you only shot video to television, right? So you didn't have this problem. But with a 4:3 screen, the video format at 720 by 486 isn't quite 4:3. Hence, they had to shrink the pixels. They're at 90%. So how do we deal with this?
It depends where you're going, so where the video ends up. When you bring the video in and you're working with it, say in Final Cut, like either Final Cut Express or Final Cut Pro, Final Cut does that conversion. And so when you work with it and edit it, and then you dump it back out to video, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
It'll look right.
That's why it's very important to have all of your sequence settings, right, your capture settings. You want them to conform to the camera you're using, essentially.
Right.
So if the camera is using DV, make sure your settings say DV, and that can carry on through. And then I think your only problem ends up if you get to the export stage and you want to put that on a computer screen.
Right. So if you want to just make a QuickTime that you're going to view on a computer, the size for square pixels should be 640 by 480.
Yeah.
And that's the aspect ratio of the width to the height.
Right, so 640 being the 4, 480 being the 3, you do the math, you end up at the right size. Easy to do because you have square pixels, right? But you don't have that with video with the D1 or DV format.
Right.
Now, it gets even more complicated if you want to shoot in widescreen. How does that end up
So
working?
what happens is most of the cameras, the chips in them are the shape of the chip is 4:3.
Right.
So to have a widescreen, which is 16 by 9, it doesn't record the top and bottom information.
And again, we're back to a different pixel aspect ratio. So for 4:3 D1 DV, it is a 0.9 pixel aspect ratio.
Right.
For widescreen, it's 1.2. Now, it's not, you have to change the math to the other side. You're not multiplying the 720 by 1.2 because you only have those 720 pixels. So the math gets a little wonky, but it's the same kind of idea, just a different pixel aspect ratio. And that's why you see on the back of DVDs, you'll see all the time anamorphic widescreen.
Right.
It means they're stretching the pixels out. And now when you're back in the square pixel world, instead of 640 by 480, you do the math again with 16 by 9 and you end up with
640 by 360.
It's just a little bit of algebra shifting things around.
And so if you want to play around with different frame sizes, so if you wanted to do, say, 320 pixels wide,
yeah,
then you just multiply it, and that's how you get the proper
exactly.
height.
So you can scale up or down, but basically you shoot on your camera, you make sure the settings on that are if you're doing widescreen, 16 by 9. When you import that into Final Cut, you make sure your sequence settings, your import settings are conform to that. And then it's not really to the export stage that you're going to go to the square pixel computer screen, iPod, whatever else format.
And when you do this, the easiest thing to do, once you've figured out all these settings, save them as a preset, and then that's the one you can use all the time, because math is hard.
Yeah, so most programs will let you save that once, and you can just use those settings from there on in, thereby sparing your brain from any more math school. One other point we should mention in this is that you want to make sure if you're putting overlays in there from other sources, say Photoshop. Again, if you're in the stretch world instead of the square world, you need to make sure that the pixel aspect ratio is set to that as well.
And Photoshop has presets.
Anyway, I hope that helps you with wrapping your head around what pixel aspect ratio is, what anamorphic widescreen is, and how the heck you get stuff from that video camera onto your computer screen without people looking too fat, too skinny, or just a little wacky.
Over the past 3 years, we've had quite a few different sponsors, but none have been with us for as long as GoDaddy. And now for our Insight segment. This is sponsored by GoDaddy. We still have the same deal as last week if you sign up for services at GoDaddy. So we just wanted to give a very special thanks to GoDaddy for all their tremendous support over the years and their help in keeping commandN going strong. And now it's time for our web picks of the week. Will?
This week my web pick is a website called Wasabi, and it's like, if you guys have ever heard of Mint, it's like an online financial tool. You kind of like download stuff from your bank, put it up in there, and it helps you figure out where all your money's going. I like it. I'm trying to get better control of my finances, so I saw this and I love it. And it works with Canadian banks, which Mint doesn't. So if you're in Canada and you want to check it out, give it a try.
Ooh, that's very good. Now, Mike, thanks so much for joining us for the second time on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's nice to see you.
Hey, come on.
Oh, lots of love, lots of love. All right, Mike, what's your web pick?
Well, my web pick of the week is something, it's for a video game called Spore, and it's called the Spore Creature Creator. And what it does is it allows you to create these creatures for this game. It's a fantastic game by Will Wright, the creator of Sims. And I really can't describe it and give it justice, but check out Spore online and you'll find a lot of information, and there's like millions of these creatures people have created.
All right, well that's a good one. So you can manage your finances, you can create your own Spore creature, and I'm going to tell you how you can actually create a headphone rack, which is like an IKEA hack. So I found this on lifehacker.com. So it's only about $15. I don't know about you, but I have a couple pairs of really nice headphones and I'm always looking for a place to put them on my desk. So this is an easy way and an inexpensive way to find a perfect place to, you know, give your headphones the pride they deserve.
Well, what do you mean? They're not always on your head, Amber?
No, they're not. I have to take them out once in a while.
Phone calls and stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well that's it for this episode, and happy anniversary to everybody, our
Happy
3-year
anniversary.
And thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
commandN. I have many fond memories of commandN. The first one in particular, the first episode, we snuck off in the middle of the day, didn't tell our bosses where we were going, and shot the first episode of commandN.
Hi, I'm Amber.
And I'm Mike.
And we're back with our little weekly segment, our weekly wrap-up, which we're calling commandN for now.
For now.
For now, and that's a Mac shortcut, just for anyone who doesn't know. It doesn't mean it's all about Mac. We're going to talk about lots of stuff, what's happening on the web, new web-based applications, new sites.
Definitely. Soon later, Brian McKechnie joined on the team and did a fantastic job shooting and editing the shows, making us look a lot better than we would have done by ourselves. The trip to Chicago, where we did our show entirely from the Ferris wheel.
And if you're wondering why it looks a little bit chippy, we're actually on the Ferris wheel down at Navy Pier, and it's a little bit windy, and we're concerned about our tiny little camper falling over. Anyway.
Another fantastic memory. commandN has achieved many things. Definitely.
And what else, Mikey?
I don't know. We had a great time all the time, and I always had a great time with Amber, with Will, with Brian, with Jeff, with everybody on the commandN team, and now especially Chris behind the camera right there. But in the end, we always had fun in front of the camera, and we always hoped you guys had fun, and that was the best memory of all, of having fun with everybody at home, enjoying the comments, and enjoying the emails back and forth. So thank you for enjoying commandN, and I had a great time with you. Pong Pong Lazaz is last show today.
Thanks so much, Mike, and thanks for watching, and have a great week.